Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you guys so much for stopping by. So today we'll be doing batch cooking and I will be cooking Njangsang sauce, white beans, Ndole, okra and Egusi pudding. I'm going to be cooking these meals for my family of 6 and it's going to last us for a whole week. So whenever beans is on the menu, I ensure that I pick it, I clean it up, make sure there's no bad beans, there are no stones. I do that before the day I have to do my batch cooking, so that when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that goes on the fire is my beans, because it takes a long time to cook. So normally I would always have my garlic and ginger prepped and blended and kept in the freezer, but this time around when I took out the garlic and ginger that was in the freezer, I realized that it wouldn't be enough for all the meals I'm cooking, so I had to make some. Now these are all my ingredients washed. Some of them that needed to be chopped have been chopped, some of them sliced, and at this point white beans is ready. So I just went ahead to pour it in a sieve and ensure that some cold water goes on the white bean so the cooking process can stop. So this is my Ndole groundnut. I'm just washing it. If you go to the market and say you want to buy Ndole groundnut, the one that they have peeled, this is what they will give you. So I'm going to go ahead and boil it. I learned this from one of my francophone friends, that when you want to cook Ndole, I used to blend my groundnut raw and then boil it, but she taught me that it's better to boil it first and then blend it. When you do that, your groundnut turns out really white. That's what she told me, and then also it cuts down on the cooking time of your groundnut after boiling. So I washed my kanda or my cow skin last week. I intended to show you guys the process of how I wash it, but I lost some of the clips, so I couldn't share that with you guys. This is another unusual thing that I normally do not do on the day I am batch cooking. This is my groundnut already boiling. So I am currently washing meat. And then my eldest daughter in the house, she has been chopping all this. I just said I should show you guys. So when you're batch cooking, you need help, okay? You cannot do it on your own. If not, you're going to burn out, except that let's say you take like 2 days to do it, because you take the first day to prep everything. If you have to prep everything fresh on the day you're cooking, you're going to just get so tired. Okay, so back to our meat. Like I was saying, I normally don't wash meat on the day I am batch cooking, but this time I actually bought the meat just I think 2 days before, and I was just so tired, and I don't know if it's tiredness or laziness, whichever one, but I didn't wash the meat. So I have washed out the portion that I'm going to use for all the meals I'm making today, and I'm just seasoning it. Now I have washed my kanda thoroughly so I can, after boiling it for a bit. Did you guys see the fork I put inside my kanda? Did you do that while you were growing up? Their mom used to say that add fork inside that kanda so that I go down quick. That's what my mom used to say, so I just do it. One of the things I do when I'm batch cooking is that I wash as I go. Okay, so after washing the meat and everything, I just want to clean the sink. If not, at the end I'm going to be so overwhelmed and I'll just be tired. So I like washing as I'm going, so when I make a mess I clean it up and then I continue. So yeah, my meat is on the fire, and the meat was actually supposed to be the first thing that goes on the fire, because I like to use the broth for the different soups that require the broth, okay, of the meat. But because I had not washed my meat, and I like to take my time to take out all those sticks. You know how when you buy meat from the slaughter, it has a lot of sticks and sometimes it's it's really dirty because they don't handle it with care. So I like to take my time to wash it, and that's the rest of the meat over there that I've tied in different wrappings. I'm going to send it into the freezer. So this I should have done it like maybe last week, so that today I wouldn't have to go through that process, but that's fine. We are done with it and on to the next. So like I said, batch cooking, you want to have help. Okay, if you have help, it's going to go faster. If you do not have help, then you want to prep your things slowly, maybe a day before or 2 days before, so that on the day you're cooking. I really love batch cooking because it takes away a lot of stress from me during the week. When my kids are in school, I have time to, if I want to pray, if I want to edit my videos, if I have a video to sit down and film, there's just a lot I can achieve instead of staying for 2-3 hours in the kitchen. Now I'm going to show you guys something that I do with my batch cooked meals, okay, to make them fresh. Maybe I'm going to give you guys a whole different video on that, but I'll give you guys like a tip of the iceberg in this video. So I just blended my crayfish. This is another thing that I normally have blended in containers, but I just bought crayfish. Is that even English? I just bought a lot of crayfish a couple of days back, and I had not yet blended, so that's why I had to blend some. I had leftover of blended crayfish, but that would not have been enough. So this is me now prepping for my Njangsang sauce. Okay, so I'm just adding some garlic, ginger, some Njangsang, and then I'm going to add some chopped tomatoes and blend it all together. So this Njangsang sauce, I am not going to cook it. I'm going to leave it fresh. How do I explain this? So when I make Njangsang sauce to keep in the freezer, I do not cook it. I do not go ahead and boil it. I just blend everything together, put in my fish, soak it up in the Njangsang, soak up my fish in the Njangsang, add some ingredients. I don't put white pepper in Njangsang sauce, but I add my curry powder. My garlic and ginger is already inside. I put some salt, I put some seasoning cubes, and then I leave it to soak. The fish will soak and marinate in the fridge for as long as I do not need to cook the Njangsang sauce. Okay, and then the day that I'm cooking it, I promise you guys I will do a video to show you guys how I ensure that my freezer meals are fresh and tasty like I just made it today. So this is why with most of my freezer meals, I don't cook them completely. You guys will see how I'm going to do the next meal. Okay, so just keep watching. So we can safely say that one meal is already done. Okay, and that's our Njangsang sauce. I'm just going to close it up and I'll keep it in the freezer like this. So my Ndole granite is ready, and I just go ahead to blend it. It's looking a little bit green because of the green spice you saw me add into it. Okay, my meat is boiling, it's getting ready, and now I can use my meat stock for everything that I need meat stock for. Okay, so I'm still going to blend the rest of my Ndole granite. Okay, I'm going to blend it. I have a recipe. I think I have detailed recipe for all the meals you'd see on this video. You can see how white the last groundnut was looking. That's because there was no green spices in it. So this is me prepping for my Egusi okra soup. Okay, that was Egusi you saw in the pot. I'm trying to climb up to remove extra pots because I need more pots. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and slice my meat into tiny portions. I'm going to be using this meat for my white beans and for my Egusi pudding. I like to chop my meat into small portions when I'm making jollof rice, when I'm making white beans, when I'm making Egusi pudding and other things. So I'm going to fry the meat. Generally for Egusi pudding, it's best to use dried meat, like it slaps different. So I was intending to make plain okra, but when I realized that I had extra Egusi, I was just like, why not make Egusi okra soup? And this is it. So our cooking is actually going really fast. You can see my Ndole groundnut behind the boiling. You can see that the oil is already coming to the surface, and it's about time to add my Ndole vegetable. I had a little challenge with the Ndole because my vegetable was not enough. So you would see when I'm adding my vegetable that is going to be small. Well, it depends. There are people who like their Ndole very more of groundnut than the vegetable, but I like mine kind of in between. So I needed just a handful of vegetable to make it get to the point where I would like it. Now, the secret that I use when I'm making dole, okay, to keep in the freezer is that I just boil my Ndole groundnut with all the various ingredients, right? White pepper, curry powder, ginger, whatever it is you put in your Ndole, you can put, okay? And then I go ahead to add my vegetable. Now, after adding my vegetable, I do not add onions, I do not add crayfish, and I do not add oil. On the day that we have to eat this Ndole, that's the day that I'm going to add all of that. So that's how I make my freezer meals to be fresh. Now, over to the white beans. Okay, I'm just frying the tomatoes. Now, if I had to keep these white beans in the freezer, right? So these white beans, we're going to eat it today and tomorrow, so I'm not going to be keeping it in the freezer. But if I had to keep it in the freezer, what I'm going to do is I'll fry my tomato like I'm doing now, adding my meat, put in everything, salt, seasoning, okay, add my beans, mix it up and keep it in the freezer. But you see this part where I'm adding carrots, green beans and onions and green peppers, I would not do it if I were to keep this in the freezer. On the day that I'm taking out my white beans to warm it up for us to eat, okay, that's the day that I'm going to go ahead and add everything. So these are some things that you can do to ensure that your freezer meals feel very fresh. Okay, so you don't have to cook every day, you can plan, you just prep your meals. And also you could even just boil your beans and keep in the freezer, and then you start from fresh by frying your tomatoes and everything. If you prefer it that way, you don't have to cook everything. So you guys can see 3 meals are already done. Our Ndole done, our Njangsang sauce done, and our white beans done. Now we are making Egusi pudding. I have a detailed recipe of this. I have a detailed recipe of okra soup. I have a detailed recipe of Jangang sauce. I have a detailed recipe, I think, of every meal that I'm making today. So you can want to just scroll back on the channel, or you can type it on your search bar. If you want Egusi pudding, you can type how to make Egusi pudding by JD's Kitchen. Okay, so yeah. done. Done. Let me go and take a bath. Wash my